Hour 2 Overdrive continues, brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Bryan Hayes, Yo-Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles, McLennan, Frankie Corrado. Role play level of concern later in the hour. Jason Strudwick coming up. We had Struddy on a couple of weeks ago when the Oilers were winning. Now the Oilers have lost 3 in a row, so we got to balance things out, right? Yeah. Big Struddy in. And we're getting close to Spengler Cup time, too, which I'm sure gets the juices flowing for Struddy.
How about
Does he
the
cover
stupid
that?
tweet he sent the other day saying, I got you guys your Drakkar Noir for Christmas.
And your gold chain.
Oh,
he was
yeah.
waiting
Like,
for your
I'm still
chain for
looking
you.
for the gold chain for O-Dog. It's like such a cheesy.
But it's like you can smell the picture, right? Like we all know that scent. And just seeing a picture of it, you're like, I got to
be honest, I still think a Drakkar Noir is a solid move. I think you could... Wrong.
No.
You could wear that out.
When was the last time you put on cologne? Like, is cologne even a thing anymore?
I like a nice cologne.
Yeah,
you put on cologne?
I have a little something here.
I put on cologne, yeah.
Am I missing something? I'm not cologne guy at all. I've never
Just
even...
a little.
Just a little dab.
Yeah, just one little spray. Like I like the Hugo Boss. I give the little Boss spray just a shot.
I might have to start wearing some Drakkar Noir to the gym.
To the gym.
Because
I have a feeling
I've been wearing deodorant to the gym, and when I take my sweater off when I get home, it's like my armpits are the bottoms of organic bins in your kitchen. It's
awful.
It's
not good.
It's not good.
Yeah.
I have a feeling Doogie's like an Axe body spray guy where he just grabs it and he goes all over the place with
Doogie
it.
goes
like
heavy.
8th grade gym class kind of move.
You close your eyes and you know Doogie's around.
What's Doogie been doing with the lady that dumped him for the basketball? Is she back in the mix?
As far as I know, he's moved on. I think to
not.
bigger and better things. Doogie seems like he's very happy and he's enjoying the holiday season.
You want to hear the latest on Doogie, actually? I found this out today. 2 things on Doogie. One, he's never seen the movie Borat. I don't know how you feel about that. 2, doesn't know who Pamela Anderson is.
Wow, that's a fireball.
That's
offense,
embarrassing. That's
and
actually
the third thing
shocking.
is that he's basically a member of Hazenbro. That is the third thing.
He might be running bots.
He is behind the Russian bots.
That is categorically untrue. And I mean, we had this conversation yesterday with Andy and Jonas about like realizing your age. Where Pamela Anderson obviously seems like something everyone would know, but I mean, she's not young anymore. Baywatch was 30 years ago. I guess you wouldn't know
Pamela Anderson's probably 60 years old.
Yeah,
is.
it's exactly like she hasn't been in the limelight in a long time. Like we're talking 15 or 20 years since she's been like a relevant A-list type celebrity, if she ever was one. But we were talking about it.
56. Sorry,
56.
Pamela.
56. Shout out because we love Pamela Anderson.
Yeah.
And her last movie wasn't exactly a movie.
Yeah, but her Netflix special was great. Like, the sex tape with Tommy Lee was not a movie.
Homemade stuff.
Yeah. Well, she broke that. She created that whole world. Not to get. We don't have to go down that road. But everyone else following Paris Hilton, Kim Kardashian, it was Pam. Like Pam was Meryl Streep. When it came
She's
to
a
that.
pioneer.
Yeah.
She's a revolutionary, and Doogie doesn't know who she is. You think at some point you would have heard the name and said, I'm just going to Google who this person is.
Right.
Where that leads you, that's up to you on the Google search.
Don't do it at work,
Be careful,
Doogie.
Doogie.
Don't
exactly.
make sure
Security
you don't
will
Google.
show up.
Don't be doing that in your mom's basement on her computer. Bud.
Yeah, be careful, Doogie. We don't advise
but
that.
if you watch the Netflix special, it actually lays out how the video was stolen, how it got there was like a distributor that like was like, I'm going to make a bunch of money off this.
Wow.
And Pam and Tommy like tried to sue him to keep it off. It was crazy. It's a crazy story.
Oh,
I felt
didn't know
bad
that.
watching that, Noodles. Honestly.
Yeah, like it was
The Netflix you're talking, not the other.
Yeah, the Netflix,
I'm
not
just
the
clarifying what you're
that's
feeling.
not. Let's not pretend like none of us have seen the video.
I know, it's
Like,
one of those
you know,
things. Like, what do you?
You might have taken a peek.
Come on.
I guarantee if Struddy took a peek at it, you never know. But
well, Struddy's coming up here in a moment, and Struddy, I guess he's in the Christmas spirit, right? He He was shopping for us in Edmonton, and we
for
really do
Drakkar
appreciate
Noir and a wig.
Yes, here he is, our buddy Jason Strudwick. How are things going up there in terms of you buying gifts and making sure everyone's happy this time of year, Struddy?
Oh, dog, don't change the subject. You know what I was buying you? I was buying you a thin gold chain. Those are expensive, though. The chunky ones, you're not a chunky gold chain kind of guy. You're an angel hair pasta, thin gold hair chain. I'm getting one for you. Don't worry, I'll find it.
Struddy, when you're at the mall, do you mix up like a Christmas-type sweater with tight jeans to keep everyone interested? Or what are the outfits like for that type of venture?
Well, number one, the whole time I'm at the mall, I have some kind of a smoothie. I want to look like I'm a power guy, right? Smoothie, just multiple smoothies. Like a chain smoker, I'm pounding 2-3 smoothies at a time. And then I do wear the tighter jeans, and I've got a pink pair of Nike shoes just to draw attention, right? It's like a nice bird with all the colorful plumage. You want to have the same thing. So that's how I draw the eyes to me, is with the jeans, the smoothie, then the pink
I like it, man. Look at you with the accessories, smoothies,
but what is
and
the
plumage.
smoothie? You think someone looks at you and says, "Oh, that guy takes care of himself because he has a smoothie in his hand"?
Oh, yeah. 800 calories a pop. It's worth it.
He's making fun of me because he's probably seeing that I'm drinking a smoothie. Just so you guys know, I've been dead sick. I left my flight this morning so that I'm going to fly into Denver tonight. I haven't eaten anything, so I had Uber Eats bring me a smoothie so I can have a
John
voice on
Abbott's
air.
just loving hearing that. He's got to sit beside you for 4 straight hours.
Exactly.
What a coincidence. He just went through Vegas. That is shocking.
And Dallas and all of these cities that, listen, you travel, you end up picking up a bug or two here. And you're right. I might have had something. You're not supposed to kiss the dice in Vegas, apparently. I didn't know that.
Right.
Never know.
You never know.
Doodles doesn't think he's allowed to be in his hotel room before 2 a.m. Like, he thinks he only books it from 2 a.m. to 10 a.m. You can go in there early, Noodles. Spend the evening in there. Get some sleep.
It is available to you. So how are we feeling, Struddy? I mean, some wild all year. The whole Canadian kind of script has been pretty wild. Where Vancouver keeps winning. There's coaching changes. Ottawa blows a 3-0 lead, and we'll get your take on the Maple Leafs here momentarily. But the Oilers, last time we had you on, new coach bump. They're rocking. I think they won 8 in a row. They look great. Now all of a sudden they've lost 3 in a row. Is panic starting to set in? I saw Connor Brown, I think, might be a healthy scratch coming up.
Yeah, it's difficult when the Oilers don't have the luxury of having extended games with losses, right? They have now they went on that great run 8 in a row, kind of getting back in the mix, and then you lose 3 in a row, and now you're kind of it's tough because they if they were started 500 or something, okay, you got that, but now you've kind of lost all that extra juice in for bad times. So they need to, try to just, try to get some more wins and losses in those 5-game or 10-game segments. So you think about the Tampa game, winnable game, but I believe the goaltender, Vasilevsky, pulled one out. He was the first star, and there was a guy with 4 goals in the game. So that tells you how well he played. I think Florida was maybe a game that they weren't going to win the way they played. And then last night in New York, you can make the case that they could have won. I think at times they were overhandling the puck and not getting enough pucks to the net. There was a time, if anyone watched the game, Brett Kulak rushed it up, was on his backhand in front of the net. Instead of just throwing one at the net, he tries to throw it back to the, to make a play. And I get the intention, but sometimes just getting pucks to the net against a good goalie, you got a chance, right? It could go in or a rebound. So I don't know if people are panicking, but I just think that the way they started, people realize that every 2 points that slips away, puts a little more pressure on those next 2 points, which is now in New Jersey, and then wrapping up before Christmas at MSG.
Struddy, after the trade freeze is over, would you rather see the Oilers maybe overpay for some goaltending help, or do you think they can just kind of get through with the status quo?
Well, the big conversations about Jack Campbell, and I'm in the group that thinks that to unload that contract is going to be so expensive, whether it's assets or assets as drafts or players, probably not off your roster, but ones in the minors or in your organization, that I think it's really going to kind of hamstring you to do anything else. So I think they need another goalie. The people that was hoping to be Jack Campbell, I'm not sure that's going to happen this year. But, you're in this market, well, you can just trade Jack Campbell for a first rounder. Well, why is the team taking Jack Campbell for a first rounder? Like, that's not enough. If I see Ken Holland's phone number calling me, I'm like, oh, man, I'm going to fleece this guy or I'm not taking him on. Because at this point, is he anything more than a buyout candidate in the offseason? They're buying out for $10 million. Like, that's a lot. So I'm wondering if it makes any sense to try to make a trade to move him out. Because you got to trade him out, then you got to give up more and has to get someone back. So I don't know. It would have to be a pretty team that's really wants Jack or that wants to move someone else out that maybe is similar situation like Columbus with their goaltender there that has the same kind of cap hit. Maybe that makes a little more sense. But is that a true move forward? Is it a lateral slide like we used to see Noodles do on the dance floor?
Strud, Hayes asked the question in the first hour. And Hazy, you might have to help me with the phrasing of this. Mm-hmm. Like, you think the Oilers would take making the playoffs, but it was a first-round exit? Like, how was it worded, Hayes?
So, yeah, we played arbitration. Very creative game show here on this program, Struddy, where we basically have scenarios where teams or players walk into arbitration, and they are awarded a situation. You either take it or leave it. And the Oilers went into arbitration, and they were awarded a guaranteed playoff spot, but they lose in the first round. Would you take it or leave it? And if you leave it, what you're saying is we'll play it out and hope they can improve on that.
But they're guaranteed knocked out in the first round?
Yes.
I think the team's going to make the playoffs. I still do. I mean, I don't see, in those wild card teams, anyone really going to run away from it. Minnesota's had a nice bump. Same thing with the coaching change. But, is Arizona, I mean, they got that nice win last night. But who's really running away from the Oilers at this point? That's going to take that spot. So I think they make the playoffs. And I've said it before. I think there's a really nice story to be written here for the Oilers because I do think you harden through adversity. I think back to St. Louis Blues in what was that 18 or 19, whatever it was when they won the Cup. Mm-hmm. You do harden through adversity. I think it's something that's important to go through. And it makes you a stronger group. And I think the team has improved their play. Even in these 3 losses. I thought 2 of the games they could have won. But last night you look at the goals against, the first one, I think I'd like to see Skinner squeeze that one off. Then there's Connor Brown, the second one. I didn't like that at his play on that short or the power play goal for the Islanders. Then he tough play that, that's a power play. It's kind of a tough one where it's a breakaway, a 2-on-1. So, but I think the team has improved under Knobloch. So I do think they're not a Stanley Cup finished team, and the pieces they need to get, I just don't think they can do all of it. I'm looking at the middle 6, I'm looking at another puck-moving D, and I'm looking at a goalie. To get all 3 of those things and really, truly upgrade, I think that's going to be very, very difficult to do for Ken Holland and the management team.
With Jason Strudwick. All right, Struddy, we'll continue with arbitration. I have a Canucks one. You can answer first, then the other guys can jump in here. Because the Canucks are rocking, man. Like again last night, like when
they lose Hazy, they bounce back incredibly.
Exactly,
now.
Like it's been incredibly impressive. They already acquired Zadorov. They made some moves in the offseason that have paid off, but they haven't been a great team for quite some time. They don't have any playoff pedigree. So Struddy, the Vancouver Canucks walk into arbitration, and they are awarded a second round exit in the playoffs. In other words, they win a round, but they're out in the second round. Would you take that or leave that if you're in Vancouver?
Well, I couldn't sign it fast enough, right? Mm-hmm. I would be sprinting to sign that up. I'm signing it right away. I think that for them, well, you look at where did you have them in the playoffs to start the year? I don't think many people did. Right?
Yeah, but Struddy, look at their goaltending. You just talked about the guys you got in Edmonton. They got a world-class guy out there. And if their forwards get hot and they can put it all together and maybe they add something else at the deadline, maybe that team could be real dangerous come playoff time. Who the hell else besides Vegas and the Florida Panthers and maybe the New York Rangers and Colorado Avalanche scares anybody? So
I think
you
LA.
might as well try
maybe
to
LA.
LA, sorry, LA.
LA.
Yeah. Dallas, if Rogers hot.
You've got to beat the Kings and Vegas. So I think that's highly unlikely.
Strud, you know what it's like, though. Sometimes you get in, there's an upset in the first round. You got a second-round matchup that you did not expect, and you're like, there's our path right there, man. There is our path. So you just never know.
Yeah, no, it's fair, and it could, but I think Kings are being underrated.
They've been good, man. Like all they do is win on the road, too, right? Like how could you expect them not to walk into your building and probably perform? I would personally take it as well, just because I think you can walk away with a second-round exit saying, what a season. You know, like, hey, you're going to make the playoffs at this point anyway. So really, you're talking 4 more wins than you would have been granted. But you get into the second round. It's experience for Hughes, who doesn't have playoff experience outside of the bubble, I believe. Patterson, Besser, that means his whole season is completed and it's a success. Demko's won a round. I think you got to be reasonable because of what the expectations were coming in, and again, who they're going to be playing. That's why when you talk about expectations, obviously every season takes on a different complexion and a different storyline. Where Vancouver now, they can puff their chest out. They've been the best team in Canada, by a substantial margin. They've been really good since opening night. Yet I still think Edmonton and the Leafs have higher expectations, or they need it more than Vancouver does. That makes sense. They need to prove they can win because they were supposed to win this year. Where Vancouver, in a way, it feels like they're still playing with house money, Struddy.
Oh, 100%. And I mean, you go back to that. Well, those first 2 games, really. I mean, the first night they just annihilate the Oilers, and then everyone's like, okay, they'll get back on track the second game. And Canucks keep it going, and they win both games. And from that time, you kind of get that momentum, right? And you're feeling good about yourself. You're like, geez, maybe this new coach, I know he was a little bit there before, but this coach has kind of got us believing in each other. I think that the play of Brock Besser, to me, he looks a little quicker out there. This number of goals he scores, O-Dog, talks about Demko, Quinn Hughes, Pedersen. There's a lot of good storylines in there, and everyone's kind of feeling good about themselves and making it happen, right? So I think that for this group to come and to now, arguably the best Canadian team, which is a real surprise because I didn't have them in the playoffs. And here we are now talking about them getting, past the first round, maybe to the second round, which I think that the team is trying to establish themselves as a regular yearly playoff team. I think that'd be a really good step. And, maybe the coach wouldn't be happy. The GM wouldn't be satisfied, but you can say, okay, we've taken a step in the right direction. Now we got to do it again the next year. That's always a challenge, right? Doing it once is fun. Mm-hmm. Doing it every year is where it really comes a challenge for teams, and we've seen that now with some other teams around the NHL.
Struddy, what do those young guys in Ottawa need to go through here to get over the hump? New coach comes in, it's the same old problems. I thought it was good last night that they blew that lead because now it kind of gets exposed as far as what their weaknesses are and what's really ailing the team, and it's not all on DJ Smith. But as a group collectively they're all locked up long term. What do those guys need to go through to get out of this on the other side?
Well, I know DJ, and as soon as Jacques Martin was brought in as, whatever it was, the counsel to the coach or whatever, I mean, that was, you knew what was coming, right? So now they have 2 interim, a GM interim coach, and that'll all get straightened out, I'm guessing, before the draft. But, DJ, he had to know, he's a smart guy, what was going to happen. But when I watch Ottawa, I see a group of players, for the most part, that are very skilled, but they like to cheat to the offensive side of the puck, and they don't necessarily battle hard enough in some of those other areas. So I think that, Jacques, he has a history of, not being a defensive coach, but definitely likes that structure. And I remember playing against his teams, and they were hard to play against. Forechecked hard, backchecked hard, all the things that, you don't, if you want an easy night, you're not getting it against teams that he coached, kind of especially at their peak years in Ottawa. So I think that you can't change it overnight, obviously, but you're going to put guys in positions and make them understand that this is how we play now. These are the expectations, and scoring. Scoring is incredibly difficult, but there's other part of the games because other teams can score too. There's talent through this league, so you have to be able to score, but also defend and make it hard for other teams the way you forecheck. So I think that that's what Jacques going to bring, and then I'm guessing he transitions out of that coaching spot, and someone else comes in, and he'll have kind of raised the expectations or raised the bar of how those guys play for the next coach, whoever that is, and whenever the guy comes in.
Struddy, has Joe Thornton reached out to get some tips on how to run the Spengler Cup?
Every year I kind of wait. Maybe I'll get the call. Maybe this is the year they want to, revisit the greatness of, what was that year, 2000, whatever it was. And I guess so. They don't want guys that won it before, or silver medal, I guess, guys.
Right. Medaled. It's always a great consolation. Yeah. I medaled.
What is Jumbo doing? What is Jumbo doing? Is he the manager?
Yeah, him and Gabby are over there running the operation.
Yeah, Bruce Boudreau and Joe Thornton are running the show, and Jason Strudwick is special counsel, special advisor to the team.
I love it.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe 1 year I'll get that. Maybe we should try to get that going. Like they did for Rory Fitzpatrick for the All-Star team. They get it just Strudwick for assistant to the assistant regional manager of Spangler Cup coaching.
Yeah, we need a fan vote on that. We need Struddy heavily involved. Like no actual power at all, because we want to win this thing. But
empty briefcase over there, just walking around.
Right, just kind of bringing positive vibes to the whole structure.
An ill-fitting tracksuit,
Exactly. Peacocking around with your silver medal, just to let everyone know this could be yours if everyone works together.
And be honest, is Drakkar Noir, is it on sale right now at West Edmonton Mall? Like, were you actually shopping for it? Because, like, O-Dog said he would wear some. He would wear some.
Struddy, you have to admit, like, it's a blast from the past, but I think it's an elite cologne. Elite.
I took a smell of it. It is stronger than I remembered. It's a very bold smell. Frankie couldn't handle it. I don't think Frankie Corrado could handle it. I don't think he could wear that around and he'd pass out.
Yeah. There's no way I could never do that. I was never accustomed to having that kind of scent coming off me.
Yeah, man, it's hilarious. Like the guys that have no self-awareness of how much cologne they have on are always the best. When they just overdose it and it's like they've got nose blind to it.
Well, I like the guy that has 15 shots of Drakkar Noir. There's an automatic 30% cigarette smell in there as well.
Yeah, he's compensating for something.
It is. It's compensating for brown liquor and darts, and that's how much he decides to spray.
Yes. It's 100% true. Yeah, gotta have it. It's like when you walk into a house that's up for sale and there's just scented candles lit everywhere. You're like, what is going on in this house?
So you look at the ceiling and it's yellow.
Yeah, you're like, what smells in here when those are not being lit?
Just do yourself a favor and rip the carpet up and have a sniff.
Right.
Do it and see what you think.
Yeah. Or move it. That's like if it's a dart house, just move one picture frame that's been there for 30 years and it's white. Like those are the best.
If you have a house that's for sale where there's been like inside dart blowing, the stuff you will see.
Oh, it's wild. You move a picture frame, you will pass
Dude,
out.
you know what I don't understand about that? What do the bed sheets smell like upstairs? Like, what are you sleeping in?
It's drenched. It's everything darts. The whole house. Is dart smelling. I haven't walked into one of those.
The fitted sheet is like a burnt piece of paper in an indoor dart house.
Yeah. An in-house dart house.
Dude, it's like parchment paper that was in the oven little too long,
That's
and it's a little crispy.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. A little bit over the top at 450 for 3 decades.
Like Struddy in the tanning bed.
Yes, Struddy. I could see that. You hitting the beds out there? I mean, it's probably tough to pull off a tan in Edmonton right now.
It's been very nice. I'm all natural. I do sometimes go outside and get a little sun, but no, I like to keep it all natural. I want people to see my natural state and appreciate it.
Well, Struddy, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, buddy, and we'll have to do it again soon. And if you're in the mall, please continue to send pics. We love to know what you're up to.
I'll try it. I'll wait for it to really go on sale. Have a good holidays, guys. We'll talk to you after.
All right, buddy. There's Jason Strudwick. Former NHLer and, of course, a big part of the Got Your Back podcast, joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline. Yeah, the cologne. I got to look into it. It is, that time of year. I guess I could ask my kids. They can go pick something out for me. Or
that used to be the go-to present, wasn't it? It was always
cologne.
Like for me, it was like I don't use a wallet. I don't do people use wallets anymore? I don't use a wallet.
So.
I use a paper clip or whatever.
Yeah, it's
you
tough.
But
I get the little small. Well, I got the small one with like the 3 cards I need. Cash,
Oh, dude, I got the whole setup in there. I'm wallet guy.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, I got receipts. I got change. I got like
First of all, wallet guy. People don't know this, but it's bad for your back because you put it in your back pocket and you sit in your car, tilt your body. It's not good, and it's just it's stupid.
Little trick of the trade. Started putting it in the front pocket. Because I was living downtown, I'm like, I don't want to get pickpocketed, so let me put this baby right up front.
That's the move, but that's the problem. If you have a giant pocket or a giant wallet and it's in your front pocket, like sometimes that can be tough to get in and out. Then
sit
Yeah,
down and
you got
stuff.
your
Yeah,
phone
people
in
look
there.
at it and they're like, "What's this guy up to? Like, what's in there?"
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
weird.
You got your
I might
keys.
maybe we'll get my wallet for the next. We'll go through it. I don't know.
All right. Yeah, you're still repping it, man. I got rid of the wallet a long time ago. I used to be wallet guy too, but it's just useless stuff. It's
But
just
Christmas presents. That's what it is. It's wallet.
Yep.
It's cologne. Like that's dad presents. The tie. You know, the stuff that you don't really want or need, but then you get it every year. So you're like, all right, I'll take it. That's why I don't like giving presents out. I just think they're a waste of time. Other than kids. Kids deserve it.
Right, of course. Yeah, well, that's the whole. Like we have this conversation all the time with, my wife. We go back and forth. We're like, what do you want? What are you thinking? Like ideally you have an element of surprise, which there always is, but generally it's like, just give me a heads up, which is pretty lame, but you know what I mean.
Exactly.
What is a head? Just give me a heads up. What is that?
What I mean by that
Just
is
don't
like,
make me open something that I'm just going to say I hate this and I don't want it.
Yeah, and like you tell me what I'm thinking. I'll tell you
Right.
what what I'm saying. Like basically,
Yeah, I gotcha.
If it is going to be a tie, I'm looking for a green tie. Can you hook me up? Here's a link. Like everything's online now. Again, there's no romanticism to it at all.
No.
But you're right. I like the fact that you're thinking about, how the body moves, how it looks. I think it's time to play something here, JP.
I'm talking about all the way to the top, yeah. Unjustifiably in a position that I'd rather not be in, but the cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
So I know what you're doing. You're doing me just a Christmas favor.
I need the hookup here on how the gym's going, because I called you the other day and you were huffing and puffing, and I said, "Where are you right now?" Like I was borderline shocked. I'm like, "What are you
Dude,
doing?"
you can't play this song just out of like a holiday. Like
No. You're looking
Was it a
good.
charity? You look thin. Like
You're talking
thinning
about
out. You're
your
looking good.
posture and back, and I called you, and you're at the gym. I know you're committed. I know you're doing it. I know you're going, and I think it's long overdue. It's been like a month and a half. We've been waiting on the siren. Before you go here, what's the update? How we feeling? How we doing?
I have dropped a 12-pack.
Yes, let's
I've
go.
dropped a
Yes,
12-pack, and by the way, a 12-pack is a small amount of the big picture that needs to.
it's the start though. The start is the toughest.
You
Once
chip
you get
away.
rolling, you'll
all you
move.
It is, because a lot of people, just let me tell you, you can't do it for 2 weeks and then jump on the scale and say, "Oh, this is just not working," and then pack it in, because then you'll just be bigger than the moose you were before. You gotta grind it out, man. You gotta grind it out.
It takes weeks, man. Like your body's waiting to. Your body is playing Russian roulette with you. It's like
in
game
shock.
of chicken. Yeah, it is. It's draw. It's like, okay, you're gonna test me for 2 weeks. I'll guarantee you'll stop. And then once your body realizes, oh, he's not. He's actually going. Then it really starts to work for you.
Fade off.
And there you go.
Buddy,
All right,
I went
moving
to
in right direction.
I went to get a bottle of water the other day, and the lady at the convenience store handed me the Ziploc bag to get my sour keys with the tongs.
Yes.
I said, no.
No, not doing it.
That was my routine. I would stuff 20 giant sour keys into the Ziploc, zip it up, and bury them all before bed. Dude, do that 6 times a week and see how fat you'll be.
You're 6 years old, living in Neverland.
Dude, you know how embarrassing it is to walk in there and the Ziploc bag and the tongs are being handed to you like
There
this?
you go.
Like, there you go.
There you go. Go ahead.
Oh, I love it.
And
20
you are
pack?
cramming 20 large sour keys in that bag.
Wow.
And not even shocked when you show up the next day to refill it. She's just
Right.
like, there you go again, bud.
That's the part. The refill the next day is the part where it's like, how do you go back for it?
No, she must have been
Yeah.
thinking, like, is there 8 people at your house in the basement that are eating
Right.
these sour keys? Wrong. It's
This-
me.
This guy runs a convenience store.
Yes.
Like, no, I don't actually.
It's just for me.
Yeah, it's just for me. It's all good.
tongs.
Just pack that up. All right. Well, listen, I'm glad we played it because you look good. You're moving in the right direction, and it's been good chatting with you, buddy. We'll have to do. You got the World Juniors right around the corner, right? How are we feeling
I got
about
the
Canada?
World When are you guys on the air? Tomorrow too?
Yes, we're on.
Yes,
we're
every
on.
day.
You want to join us again tomorrow?
We might do the hockey power hour
All
tomorrow.
right,
You never
Power
know.
Hour tomorrow. I love it. All right,
All
let's
right.
do it. There he is,
See
the
you,
O-Dog,
boys.
Jeff O'Neill. Role play level of concern is coming up. Drag's still to come. Jack Armstrong with the champs in town tonight. Overdrive continues, TSN 1050 and on TSN 4.
You can never ask me to stop drinking. Do you understand?
I do. I really do.
All right, role play level of concern, and it's been a wild show so far because we had the O-Dog with us, we had Struddy on, we were playing arbitration a little bit earlier this afternoon, but it is a Wednesday. Clearly doesn't know that because he.
How about him going, you guys on the air tomorrow? Yeah, we're on our show.
Yeah. Yes, we will be on Thursday at 4 p.m.
On your show. Yes, exactly.
We will be on your show tomorrow, yes.
I got to be honest, arbitration was tough today. Like,
Yeah.
my brain was in
That
a bit
was
of a
tough.
pretzel with those today.
I might
was
come up
tough.
with a couple more. We'll see what we got the rest of
Yeah.
the week because arbitration's a good little bit, man. It makes you think, it gets you on your toes, and same thing applies here with role play. And we've only got a few here, so I guess I'm talking to Joe from the bridge here. Joe, I'm going to go with the last 3 on the list. I sent 6, but a few of the ones we were going to get to, we've talked about a lot today. So why don't we begin with you, Noodles? And you are playing the role of the Rocket Richard race. The Rocket Richard race. What is your level of concern that Austin Matthews is going to run away with this?
Rick Bushwood. Right in the
6
middle,
Bush Light, 6 Bud Light, and I love them, tall boys.
Yeah, because, I mean, he seems to now, what is he up to now? He's up
He's up a couple
on-
now, yep.
Yeah,
And
I
Besser's
just-
there. There's obviously guys there.
But the
Connor
guys
getting
that
hurt
are
is
there-
big.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guys that are there, like, I don't see Besser holding pace. I as much as it would be a great story in that, like, Besser's a guy that has had in his career, I think his career high is 28, isn't it? Like something, it's not like, hey, he scored 45 and 51, like now he's going to be, like, it's a great story, and I hope he gets 50. I hope he gets, but I don't see. Kucherov could be there. I think, he's a great player. I think Pasternak. I think there's a few guys, maybe McDavid, but I that's why I'm Rick Bushwood, because I think he's now hitting that separator.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Besser's career high, I believe, is 29 Noodles.
Yeah,
And
so there you go,
He's
29.
just, like, he's not as dynamic of a goal scorer as Matthews, where,
No.
like, he'll get on the power play, he needs to get in his spot, some things need to go well for him. He's a great goal scorer, but Matthews can make it happen out of nowhere. He can pull it from, like, behind his body like he did last. He does it way too many different ways. And then Kucherov is there, but Kucherov is still, for me, like, more of a passer, even though last
he's a
night, like, I
disher.
think he had 2 last night, but he's still looking
Yep.
to pass. And I don't know, man. Like, it seems like it's Matthews to win this year.
I'm with you. I'm creeping towards Nick Cage. It's still December, so I don't think you can get there. But this cat, like, when he's playing like this, it's every night, man. Like, and he's had a couple of big gaps actually where it was not. Like, I think he had 7 games in a row where he didn't score, and another one where it was a number of games where he didn't score. But like, he is chugging, and to your point, Frankie, the way he is capable of scoring and what he's done throughout his career. He's been the best goal scorer in the league almost since he stepped in. I think it's got to be high. The guy I would look at is Pasternak.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Pasta's, he's 6 back of him, but he will keep pace. If he stays healthy, Pasternak will score. And other than that, it's a weird year because it is Besser, it's Reinhardt, Sid scoring goals, Zach Hyman scoring goals. All guys that are capable, but it's more likely they tail off at 40, 45.
That's what I meant. It's not the
Yeah.
household names like the guys that
Right.
are always in pace. Well, Willie Billy's kind of slowed down a little bit, eh?
A little bit, yeah.
Yes.
We'll see what does that mean for the ongoing negotiation. I'm not sure. I mean, I thought he played well last night. I thought him and Matthews, they have connected pretty well.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right, Noodles. Who knows where that's going to go? I mean, every once in a while, I hear from someone else that it's like, did you hear what this guy said? What that guy said? I don't get the impression that Nylander's camp is leaking anything to anybody. And I don't believe the Leafs are going to do that. So, unless his mind is made up, he's 100% staying, or his mind is made up, he's 100% leaving. Not sure how you can really get a read on that one way or the other. All right, moving on here. Frankie, you are playing the role of Connor McDavid. What is your level of concern that the grip you've had on the Hart Trophy is officially loosened? In other words, it's no longer yours to win.
I'm not a 6-pack and 2 shots. Mm-hmm. That's where I'm at with that. Because even if it doesn't happen this year, it's going to happen again next year or the following year, and it could be a 2-pack after that. Like one, and it's hard to call it a down year for McDavid, but 1 year where it doesn't really go your way because the team around you or you had a bad start, like that's not going to change things in the long run for McDavid when it comes to winning the Hart Trophy. Still the best player in the world. He's still going to be the best player in the league year after year, and it's the ebbs and flows of the league, man. You're not going to get 153 every single year.
Right. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. I think also, like his team, I think they're going to make it. I can't say that definitively anymore based on the way it started. And if you miss, then he's out. He's not going to win it. Like, it doesn't matter what he does statistically. If they miss, he's not going to get it. But there's a narrative that can still be driven home there where if they make it, he's got 41 points. I still think he's going to win the Art Ross. Like, he's 13 back of Kucherov, who has won an Art Ross, I believe, in the past. Right.
Yeah, he had 128 points that one.
Right, and is more than capable of continuing this. In fact, I would expect it will continue. McKinnon's right in there. There's other guys having rock star years, but I do think, McDavid should have the confidence that he can go on a heater here and still stay in this race, if not win it. And if he doesn't, he's already won 3, I believe, in his career, and he's going to win more in the future. You would think. Although I guess, there's probably a time when Sid said that, when Ovi said that. It does turn. At some point, it turns without you noticing, right? Like you're in the midst of it, and you're like, "Oh, this will keep going," and then all of a sudden, you look back, and you're like, "Man, it's been 5 years. This guy hasn't won anything."
Well, it's like who's the next? Like who's that next wave? Because McDavid was the next wave after the Crosby kind of Ovi stuff.
Right.
McDavid came in, and after his second year, it was like, "Well, see you later, everyone else." This guy's, he was injured his first year. His second year, the guy takes off. He takes flight. Is that going to be Bedard? Is Bedard going to be the next guy like that?
I would think so. I think you're looking at like Jack Hughes. You're looking at Bedard. Like Bedard had 2 assists again last night, right? Like the team's got to improve. Because generally the heart goes to a guy who's on a playoff team, generally some of the best teams in the league. So Chicago's got to get better than that. I think that's in large part why Devon Toews was freaking out last night because of who they lost to.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They lost to Chicago.
That's why I said to you guys that we were going there in the 5:00 hour. I'm like, Ottawa's in one tomorrow. If you look at Ottawa's path here, the last 5 games, they get Carolina coming off that Vancouver game where they had a closed door meeting. The coach called them out like it was just nonsense. Then they get St. Louis, who fired the coach.
Yep.
Then they go into Dallas on a back-to-back, and Dallas is sitting there fresh waiting for them. Then you go into Vegas, who was pissed because they lost to Buffalo the game before.
Yeah. Right.
And then you go into Arizona, who had 2 shutouts in a row, and they're kind of flying, and they think they get the new coach bump, and they don't. They end up giving it away. And now you're going to Colorado, who lost to Chicago, and they're pissed. It's
the toughest trip in the league probably anyway. If you're going Dallas, Vegas, Colorado, like that's I think as tough as it gets.
That's murderer's row right now.
That is that is what the California teams used to represent. A decade ago.
Dude, those road trips were outrageous where you would just get the wheels beat off you. Pick any team. Any of those 3 teams, you were going to get run. You were not going to have the puck a lot. It was brutal. And you'd play one of those. One of those would be a back-to-back. You'd probably do L.A., Anaheim on a back-to-back, get a day off, go into San Jose, and then have to weather the first 5 minutes at the Shark Tank with those animals on that team, with Brent Burns playing forward, making caca noises, like yelling like an animal.
Yeah,
it was bizarre.
That's what
crazy.
This is now. I think Dallas, Vegas, Colorado, like those are 3 of the 5 or 6 best teams in the league. I think.
Yes.
And it's not just an Ottawa thing. I think anyone goes through there. It's like, man, if we can get 3 points, we're ecstatic.
Yeah, a split out of that. You're right. 3 out of 6 points. I think you sign up for that every day of the week.
Every day of the week. All right, I am playing the role of the Philadelphia Eagles. What is my level of concern? This losing streak is a sign that I'm not a serious contender. Ooh. This is still a pine on the patio for me. All right?
Really?
Yes, and here's why. These are bad losses. The loss to San Francisco was particularly embarrassing. Like, that was at our house. We got crushed. Losing to Dallas, that's our biggest rival. That stings. That's going to lead to alarm bells. The Seattle game I can explain. Jalen Hurts is sick. It's across the country. The Seahawks need a big win as well. They had lost 4 in a row. We're still in a position where we're 10-4. We went to the Super Bowl last year. We still believe in our offense. We still believe in our quarterback. We're well coached. And if you're not named the Niners, you've got question marks right now. Yes, we're a part of that. We are not the 49ers. But that doesn't mean the Eagles are not capable of winning ball games or not serious contenders. This doesn't mean they're the Vikings all of a sudden, a team that might backdoor in, or what the Packers are, a young team up and coming. The Eagles are still a serious football team that I would not look past. And I'm not overly concerned if I'm the Eagles. I really am not. I think there's a tier system in the NFC. The Niners are at the top. But after that, I think it's still Philly and Dallas, and then you start talking who's number 4. And Philly's still a part of that. The
Niners lost games. Like the Niners lost 3 in a row at one point this year. Dallas has had bad games. They had one of the worst losses of the year. I get it with the Eagles. You know what bugs me about the Eagles right now? It's the guy that wears his pencil like this for the whole game.
Patricia.
And he doesn't use it.
Matt
It
Patricia.
drives me nuts. It's just...
He's a hero.
I don't understand. It's a weird thing, but even him, like he's running the D now. I don't get good feelings from that.
And it couldn't have ended any worse, right?
Yeah.
With that last
I got a
drive.
quick question for you. Why did the Matt Patricia picture in the group chat set off Luke?
Well,
set off Like,
'cause
why was that?
Luke can't stand Matt Patricia, right? Because
Okay.
Patricia was his coach when he was in Detroit, and he's told these stories about how Patricia would make him sit through defensive meetings, and he's a tight end. He's like, this is buffoonery, what's happening here.
Yeah.
And last week, the Eagles announced Patricia is taking over as the defensive play caller. So that's Al's brother was absolutely needling him because Luke loves Pete Carroll in the Seahawks, and yet he bet on Matt Patricia and the Eagles. So Al's brother has been going on and on about how we love Pete Carroll and Matt Patricia's a clown and how could he possibly and it's just Luke is in a bad place as a result. So that's why Matt Patricia, I sent a text saying Patricia's your mascot right now. That led to the whole bot. The Russian bots, or a bot farm that's been created by Al's brother, and all these just outlandish accusations, which are completely untrue. But it's a scene, man. Noodles, it is a scene. You've been on the road and you've been missing it up close and personal. But we are chugging.
You are. I mean, I've been watching it from afar, tracking the games, all of that. But I'll go on the website and go, okay, who did they choose? And I struggle to find out who wins anyways because I don't the lines and all of that, but I see the number just creeping up and I'm like, my God, they had the immaculate weekend.
Yes.
That just came back in. And now I was laughing so hard because now they're panicking. Like they've come apart at the seams a little bit, and that's where
it's
you
the
start
biggest
to see it.
comeback of all time, man. Like those are, they do their pro athlete salute and all that. And here's me and Al's brother with tremendous information.
Yeah. One guy had a casino, the other guy's a degenerate on cruise ships.
Yeah,
you
and
sent
they're inching towards
a picture. You sent this picture in the
yes,
in the group
I was
chat
doing this
too.
with my hat on, with my Hazer Bro hat.
Oh,
just
that hit a
absolutely.
nerve.
Just needling these guys.
You know what would be aggravating for Luke is the fact that now Al's brother at times is like bringing up games that Luke played in the NFL and chirping him about his performance in those games.
Oh, it's
and
the
Al's brother
greatest.
was probably in a hot tub somewhere at the time.
Yeah.
On a
At
cruise.
card
He
show.
was on a cruise.
That would
he
be
was
aggravating.
on a cruise that was selling hockey cards.
Yeah.
And Al's brother was just doing damage. And you're right. It makes me laugh every time. Like Luke will literally be like, you look at the tight end position. I really like the way they're set up. And Al's brother will be like, actually, I don't. It's not set up very well. It's really poor tight end play. And you're like, wait a minute. You're challenging a professional tight end who won a Super Bowl. And that's why Al's brother's the best. Like he's got confidence. He's got tremendous information. And we're on the clock tomorrow. Rams Saints. We're on that pick. So I know a lot of people are waiting for that. And then we're going to have an 8-pack on Friday because there's 2 games on Saturday, 3 to pick on Sunday, and 3 on Christmas. So a lot of gambling tomorrow. courtesy of our friends at FanDuel. All right, so we got Darren Dreger coming up. There you go. Role play level of concern. We may have some role play after dark. We got the Raptors in action tonight on TSN. Jack Armstrong will join us in about 45 minutes. Overdrive continues, TSN 1050 and on TSN 4. All right, TSN 1050's Leafs lineup. Your chance to win Maple Leaf tickets every week all season long. We announce a different player every day, and at the end of the week, if you call in with all 5 players named, you're going to see a Leaf game. This week, we're giving away tickets to see the Leafs take on Ottawa. Jacques Martin back in the building December 27th. Plus, we're throwing in a $250 Vanilla Visa prepaid card with each pair of tickets to make it the ultimate game night. Vanilla Visa prepaid cards are available for purchase at Petro-Canada. Today's player of the day is Nick Foligno. Nick Foligno is your player of the day. There you go.
Shout out Sudbury.
Yes, good guy Nick Foligno. Trying to make things happen in Chicago.
Yeah, he is a good guy. Yeah.
Great guy. Great interview.
It's unfortunate it didn't work out for him in Toronto. Like, he was hurt and
bubble. There were no fans. Like, like, that's one of the crazier, like, Maple Leaf alumni stories ever because of the nature of the city, the world, the league, the disappointment. It was Montreal. Like,
so if he was healthy, man, he would have been like rock star status here, fighting, hitting, scoring.
Yeah, exactly. You had to have people in the building to really, truly appreciate it, but that wasn't the case at that point. All right, Darren Dreger coming up, Jack Armstrong coming up as well. Overdrive continues, TSN 1050 and on the TSN app.